Hello and welcome to Scarf and Shadow. I'm your host Scarfman, and today this is an episode of Clix Bait. Now we have quite a few to go through because I've decided to do all my Green Lantern Corps members from the War of the Lights set. Both part 1 and part 2. Though this is just going to be one video, it's going to be a long one though. And we're going to be doing this in numerical order, so we're going to start with less known ones and probably head off into some more well-known ones. And back into obscurity and back into well-known. Now we'll start with the Green Lantern Recruit. Not very special, he's just a recruit. I believe this is a metaphil, actually, but the figure's Green Lantern Recruit. He has a minion ability, which, if he's within the certain range of a Green Lantern Corps member that's 75 points or above, his attack value increases. And he, like all Green Lanterns in this set, they have some sort of will ability. His is a white damage, allows him to use willpower, and also lets him potentially resist Outwit or Perplex by rolling a d6 and getting a 4 or 5 or 6. Of course, this guy's only 50 points, so he's not very strong. But he's decent enough in that regard. 4 clicks of life. Next target is actually a Prime figure. Now some people who know DC know about Tomar Ray. Not everyone knows about the sequel, Tomar 2. He was the heir of Tomar Ray's ring, essentially. Now he's a Prime figure, so he gets some very nice stuff. He's special because he's able to attach a construct to him at the beginning of the game for paying its point cost, and he's able to switch between them at a simple will. Now he gets will, and he's a Lost Lantern, so his willpower allows him to use Outwit instead of resisting the Outwit and Perplex. If he's only surrounded by, if the only friendly characters within 3 squares of him are Lost Lanterns. He also can regenerate at some point, but what makes him really special is that around click 3 and 4, yes, 3 and 4, he gets his ability called Final Stand against Hal Jordan, which you give him a power action and choose an opposing character, and the opposing character can only attack Tomar 2. No one else on your force, unless that's the only character on the... No, seriously. Unless it can only attack Tomar 2. Very nice where if you have someone who's weak and you get like Tomar 2, something that can just shrug off all damage, you're able to do that. It's cheap but it's effective. Next up, the little okay, shouldn't call her an elf girl, but she's very similar to one. Aricia. Sorry, wrong way. Now, she's also a Lost Lantern, so her willpower ability is in her damage as well as Tomar 2's. It's the same thing as Tomar 2's. She doesn't get any special things, although she does get regenerate at the end, and she is the 75-point figure. Huh. What? There's people that cost less than her? Oh, jeez. Yeah, she's not the most unique character in terms of powers, but she's a nice little one. Cute little... Well, I call her an elf, but she gets ticked off when people call her an elf. Now, surprisingly, this is one Green Lantern who's not above 75 points. That's not a recruit, essentially. Soranik Natu. Now, she has a trait which makes her special. Opposing character called Tangled Lies. Opposing characters named Sinestro modify their combat values by -1 if not already modified by this effect. And when she's adjacent to Kyle Rayner, they both modify their attack values by +1 if not already modified by this effect. She gets will in her flight eventually. Just normal will, same as the recruit. And she's a battlefield medic, so she can use telekinesis and support, and when she uses telekinesis and places a friendly character adjacent to her, she can use support as a free action, but only to heal that character. Now, for those of you that don't know who she is Sinestro's daughter, but she also dated a Kyle Rayner for a bit. Yeah, very unusual. She's not too special. Yeah, let's see ya. Next up is Boudica. Those who have seen the Green Lantern's First Flight animated feature know that that one dies. However, that's not the same as the one that actually appears in the comics. Now she's another Lost Lantern, so that's her willpower. That's her will ability. And the reason why she has an axe instead of a hand is because Hal Jordan as Parallax cut her hand off. Yeah, it was incredibly awkward. But enough of that. She does not have regeneration. She's 75 points, but her focus is damage, specifically close combat damage. But she is able to shoot people from a distance if needed. Next up is Katma Tui. I'm not the most familiar with her, but she is able to. She has a 2-star abilities. One of them is just basic willpower, the basic Green Lantern willpower, and the other one is reunited by the Mosaic, where she's adjacent to a friendly character named John Stewart. They can both use support to heal each other. Now she's a ranged combat shooter, although she can handle herself decently enough next to things, and she actually led a rebellion against Sinestro. So she's Cougar? That's it, correct? That's their planet? For Khan? It's been a while. I haven't read stories featuring Sinestro for a while. But yeah, she's a ranged combat person that will help Hal Jordan. No, John Stewart. Next up is a very obscure guy. Sarek. Now, he has normal willpower. He's more of a support character, honestly. He can use Penetrating Psychic Blast a bit later in his dial, but his star thing is he can learn from the dead, which is his unique damage ability. He can use that wit, and when he does, Sarek and friendly characters adjacent when this action is given modify the combat value that is the same type as a counter power by +1 until your next turn. Now in the stories, this guy's able to listen to the dead. Well, his ears are perpetually bleeding out their holes, but it allows him to listen to the dead. He's actually partially the cause of the Black Lantern issue of the Blackest night. Of course, he didn't know that when they sent him to when one Guardian sent him to do that. Next up is Sodom Yacht. Now, he is one of those characters with 2 points. He's the lower point value, he dies at a red line. If he's a higher point value, he dies at the KO. And also, he has X-ray vision, which allows him to ignore hindering terrain for shooting. Now, here's the interesting thing about him. Yes, he has the basic willpower ability at first, but he is actually one of the people that have wielded Ion before. And in his last few clicks of life, he has the power of Ion, which makes him impervious and have the Quintessence team ability. So stuff can't be countered, and he's just boom, 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 essentially. Because he has hypersonic speed at the same time. He's a powerful guy, but he's 250 points, so you better be prepared to pay for his or 125 if you want to deal with the weaker end. Next up is Graf Torn, another Lost Lantern. Actually, one of my favorites. He has the Lost Lantern ability as his keyword. Now let that focus in for a moment. Now, when he starts out, he has an attack ability called Webbed Constructs, where if he hits an enemy with a ranged attack successfully, Right now, when he makes a ranged combat attack and action resolves, I place a web. Yeah, each target took damage from the attack. Opposing characters can't make ranged attacks, and they must break away from these markers. He's a spider guy, but he starts off ranged, and then he's able to handle himself in close combat on his last 2 clicks. Powerful guy, he's a veteran Green Lantern, and apparently, according to his invulnerability ability, he has the highest bounty of any Green Lantern. Probably when Sinestro was in charge. Wasn't a good time. Now, everyone's favorite drill sergeant, Kilowog. In fact, his willpower-based ability is Will Drill Sergeant, which allows him not only willpower and the basic resist, outwit, and perplex, but also gives him combat reflexes for free. Now he's able to. Now, at some point he can use Come On Poozers as a white attack ability, which allows him to use Perplex, but can only target other characters with the Green Lantern Corps keyword because he's the drill sergeant. He's mostly a physical damage user, but like any Green Lantern, he can shoot distance, but he prefers to punch things through. At least for that figure. And next up is a very, very interesting character, Salak. Yes, he has 4 arms, and those are a bunch of screens behind him. He's actually the second in command to the Guardians in the Green Lantern Corps. He can use willpower and leadership as if he were 300 points because of his will second in command. And he still can ignore outwit and perplex like most Green Lanterns, except for the Lost Lanterns. His starting speed ability actually allows him to just use perplex, because they wanted him to be able to use perplex and probability control at the first dial, but decided that, you know what, let's just attach it to his speed. Yeah, he is mostly a support person, but he is able to deal a bit of damage in like his middle to last clicks. But he's still mostly support early on. Nice one, and interesting thing about this figure, if you look closely on his screens, you can't really pick it out from here, but you'll notice that there's pictures of other figures in this series here. Like, there's a Kyle Rayner on one, and there's a Kat Matui on another, and there's Mongol on, like, the top screen. Which I think that's a very nice touch. Really shows that he's keeping an eye on his Corp and their threats. Now, another Lost Lantern, who you'll be surprised is not a giant of sorts, is Hanu. Just for comparison, let's take a Aricia, that little small elf girl. This is about twice her size, but he's a rock guy, so what do you expect? Now, he has an ability which, as a trait, which says the ring is a crutch. Once per game, you can give him a free action, and he has a range value of 6 for the rest of the game. But until then, you modify his attack value by +1. He's a puncher. He has the Lost Lantern ability as his will thing in his attack slot. And yeah, he's a physical damage person. But he rather avoids his Green Lantern powers, except for stuff like surviving through space. He's you don't want to be on his bad side. Let's see, who's next? Ah, yes. Another Prime figure. Abin Sur in his Green Lantern form. Now, most people that know the at least basic lore know that Hal Jordan, everyone's apparently least favorite Green Lantern, got his ring from Abin Sur here. Abin Sur can use the Construct ability, and each time an opposing character would use probability control to reroll an attack targeting him, immediately modify his defense value by -1 because he's apparently cowardly for that stuff. However, he has decent stats, and the constructs always are useful. He's only 50 points though, so he only lasts 6 clicks alive. But he's a prime, so it makes sense why he's a little more powerful than the average 50-pointer. Also the sheer fact that he's dead by now. And I actually have his Black Lantern form, but that's another video. Okay, and of course, from old to new, here's Hal Jordan. Now, pretty much every figure after this can use the construct ability, I'll be honest. Now, he has a trait which allows him to use telekinesis as a free action when he has no action tokens. I use that often to move a character. And he actually doesn't get willpower until later. Yeah, like his third click on, and he dies at 7. Where called Will Limitless Reserves. He can use willpower, and opposing characters can't use perplex on him. And when a second action token is placed on him, roll a d6. On a result of 3 through 6, heal him with 1 damage. Very good, I'd say. Very powerful and cruel. Against someone that's not ready for someone that can heal like that. And all of his abilities except for the Will and the Power Ring Mastery are the Green Lantern Oath. So one is in Brightest Day, then Blackest Night. And pretty much they go through for each small phrase inside it. And now, next up, a very easily forgotten guy, but he's from the future. From Legion of Superheroes. And yes, and GN just did a victory, yay! In my background, not yours. Yes, that's it. He's still mourning the loss of Anthony. Yep, Ron Vidar. Construct. And he's actually the inventor of the Time Cube. No. It's like a downgrade of the Time Bubble, I know, but it was something that he built with spare parts, so he knows what he's doing with intelligence. Once per game when Ron Vidar is... As his trait, once per game when Ron Vidar is hit with an attack, he may place him or the attacker in their respective starting area. Now, he also has an attack ability called Undercover Green Lantern, where he can use shape change and stealth. And he just has basic willpower, like second click in and on. But he has energy shield / deflection from surviving Universal's assault. At least not his first click. Which is an awkward thing. That's his father. And he knows it. Next up, let's go with the punk to rock 'em all, Guy Gardner. This is the one that I don't really care for him, but yes, construct. He has this trait called "I'm not your mule, fuzzy blue elf." He doesn't like the Guardians. And during his first turn, he can use the carry ability to carry up to 8 characters regardless of combat value. Which, in other words, you surround him and you carry everyone. It's a nice touch. And he has basic willpower at his starting click, and he eventually loses that in favor of dealing more damage with close combat expert on his last 2 clicks of life. He's a football player. He was a football player before he got the Green Lantern ring. Yeah, someone had to make him retire from that, but also keeps him from getting a job. But that's another story. And he has a special speed ability called Get in Your Face. He can use charge, and if you give him a move action and he ends his move action adjacent to an opposing character, the move action counts as a free action instead. And he uses Battle Fury until that character is knocked out. Yeah, Guy Gardner has anger issues. Hence why he's also a Red Lantern. At some point. I got it? Now for everyone's favorite Green Lantern, because if people from at least my generation grew up with the Justice League TV show, who had John Stewart as the Green Lantern. Now, he was a trained sniper in the military, so he has improved targeting, which allows him to ignore hindering terrain and all characters when he shoots. He's also no, he's not a sharpshooter. I'll have to look into that. He might be able to just shoot whenever he wants. Light him up, protecting OS defense network, weapons free. Oh yeah, he has Indomitable, so he doesn't need the will ability. He's a Corps trainer and an honor guard. And his military training allows him to use ranged combat expert, and he may use it as a ranged combat action instead of a power action. So you can combine that with precision strike if you really wanted to. It's evil. I like using this guy. Especially with something that... Oh, I can't extend his range. The sniper rifle construct only allows it to go up to 10, and his range is already 10. What other constructs do you have? No, I'm not giving him the catapult for telekinesis. Okay, enough of that. Let's go to another one of Kyle Rayner's girlfriends. Yeah, he's had a few. Jade! Actually, daughter of the first Green Lantern. No, that's not Hal Jordan. Or Ivan Sur. Dang it, what's his name? Dang it. I want to say Alan Scott. Yes, it's probably Alan Scott, I think. If I'm wrong, please correct me down in the comments. I just want to know that people are watching these. Now, she improved targeting, which allows her to ignore hindering terrain. And when she targets a character in hindering terrain, she modifies her attack value by +1, and the target can't use stealth for that turn. Because, well, her father lit things up. She has plant powers, apparently, as well. At some point, she was given a copy of Kyle Rayner's ring, which allows her to be a Green Lantern Corps. She has a basic willpower. She has a slew of abilities for 151 points, and she's part of the Outsiders, and she has the Outsiders team ability. Oh yeah, and Ron Vidar has the Legion of Superheroes ability, if I forgot to mention that. No, I think this is my only character with the Outsider. Wait. No. I have a new Batman that has that, I think. Yes, I can use them successfully! Oh, well, she's a decent enough. 121 points. Oh, I've been forgetting to mention points. If you really like the idea of one of the figures, you'll be able to find the points. Next up, another popular Lantern, Kyle Rayner. Comic book artist, somehow was somewhat the last hope of the Corps when he was joined, because they had to make one last ring to try to fight Hal Jordan, and guess who it was given to? Yep, Kyle Rayner. Corps construct, and at some point he actually was a wielder of Ion, so that's why his uniform is. And that's why his Green Lantern symbol on his chest is somewhat similar to Sodom Yacht's. Bit more full than just the basic lantern. Also the fact that they chose the green with very, very good line of black in stripes. Now, about this third click and third click, he activates the power of Ion. He stops his dial. He can use Impervious, and he can use the Quintessence Team ability, but only for the third click. He has Indomitable, so he doesn't need the willpower abilities. And also for this third click, but he also has that for fourth and fifth. he has an ability called I Can Be Everywhere He Needs to Be, where he can use the dual attack ability, but when he does, before making each attack, you may place him in any legal square up to half his speed value. Yep, so he can pull the Goku teleport attacks successfully. And next up is a New 52 guy when Sinestro was still a Green Lantern, and Hal Jordan was given a copy of Sinestro's ring by Sinestro because Sinestro liked having Hal Jordan as his ally when Sinestro was the Green Lantern before. At some point they were captured, so they sent out their ring, and it landed on Simon Baz. Yeah, he's another African-American one. However, he's a new one, so he's not as well known. Oh, yes, he is holding a gun, but he's also wearing a mask to protect his identity construct. And he returned from the realm of the dead once. So once per game, when Simon Baz would be knocked out, it can turn him to click number 4 instead. But only once per game. And his willpower ability, which is in his damage slot, is Will, Courage. Opposing characters that he can use willpower, and opposing characters that can use exploit weakness or penetrating psychic blast have to roll a d6 before attempting to draw a line of fire to Simon Baz. On a 4 through 6, they can't draw the line of fire. It's very cruel, especially against someone like Darkseid. That's how you counter him. That's how you counter Darkseid. Yes, yes. Well, not successfully guaranteed, but it helps a lot. Yes, and that's all my War of the Light Green Lanterns. There are like a couple that I don't have, more prime figures. Although let's see, who is it? Oh yes, there's that meatball guy with a hand on his back. I don't remember his name. However, I had the Black Lantern version of that guy. Then there's also a Laria, I believe. Her thing was that she was a Green Lantern, but then she was fired for killing a surrendering Sinestro Corps member, and she became a Red Lantern when I have her Red Lantern form. Yeah, they have a lot of alternative forms in this series. And sometimes even alternate sculpts for different characters like Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, and Kyle Rayner. Well, oh geez, that took me half an hour? Oh, I'm sorry, but it took me a long time to go through 20 figures and try to give them enough love to make them enjoyable. Well, this is Scarf and Shadow. That was the Green Lantern Corps, and I hope you've enjoyed. Have a good one.